Judges at the UN Highest Court have begun the second day of a case examining the legality of Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. South Africa and Algeria made submissions a short while ago. Yesterday, Palestinian representatives asked the judges to declare the occupation illegal. Joining me in studio to unpack South Africa's submission to the International Court of Justice is Sophie Mokoena, who's the SABC international editor. Sophie, thank you so much for your time. South Africa and Algeria are some of, obviously, the 50 countries that are making the submission at the court. You've been following this quite closely. What have they submitted, particularly South Africa, today?
Well, South Africa clearly made a strong submission saying that the occupation should be classified as illegal, and also giving examples why it is illegal. They also looked at what different treaties and conventions are saying in relation to United Nations, and also they pointed out that these occupations are similar to apartheid, and they resemble what apartheid was all about. The state law advisor, taking the matter further to say, when you look at what the regime did to Namibia by occupying Namibia and suppressing the Namibians, it's similar to what Israel is doing now in Palestine. They even looked at issues that includes among the implication thereof, where it has resulted in many Palestinians dying during the confrontations, and recently 30,000 Palestinian civilians killed during the raid by the Israeli force in Gaza and now in Rafah. And the other important issue is that much as there are military courts to look at what Israel is saying, the judges of those Israel military courts are part of the settlers. They have taken the Palestinian land and space and houses, and therefore they are not going to be objective when they look at these matters before them. That was South Africa. Another issue that South Africa spoke about was that when you look at the responsibility of Israel in terms of ensuring that the Palestinians have access to services, Israel has failed to do that, and all these are the violations that can be pointed to in relation to international law. The Algeria team is focusing on whether the court can make a ruling or can perhaps come up with answers in terms of the UN request for the court to look at this matter as an opinion from the UN, from the court itself. Algeria pointed out that it is the responsibility of the court to do that as the organ of the United Nations, and also citing examples, because when you look at what has transpired 70 years ago up to now, you have many resolutions in the Security Council, including the General Assembly adopting different resolutions, but unfortunately all those resolutions were not implemented, and the issue of occupation of Israel, Palestinian territory, it is a violation of the international law when you look at different conventions.
Yeah. The last time around, there was a lot of issue when South Africa went to the ICJ about the fact that the court did not make a ceasefire order in Gaza. What are the chances that in these applications this will be enforced even more firmly, Sophie?
Well, I don't think they will touch on ceasefire in relation to the latest development since the 7th of October, because they are not grappling with that matter. That matter was a request from South Africa as part of the provisional measures to stop what was happening, or what is still happening, because many people are still being killed by Israeli Defense Force in Palestine. Today, they are looking at Israel occupation of the Palestine territory. Yeah. You know that you have settlers in Palestine, in West Bank, including East Jerusalem. Now, the request is for this court to agree with the commission that these settlements are illegal and therefore in violation of international law. And if it is so, South Africa is saying all the settlers must vacate the Palestinian land, and all the buildings must be brought down, those that were built by settlers there, and therefore somebody must be held accountable. This case deals with an occupier who is abusing his power or her power on one person that they have occupied, or the land that they have occupied, a nation that is under occupation. In other words, Israel occupation results in violation of human rights, violation of international law, and therefore Israel must leave those areas where you have Israel settlements of Israelis settling in the territory belonging to the Palestinians.
Yeah, is it unusual that Israel would not attend the court today? I understand that they sent a statement instead. Is it something to look deeper into, or is it just a normal, maybe procedural thing?
It's not procedural, but it's not surprising that Israel has decided not to participate, because when they participate, they give legitimacy to the processes and the outcome thereof. Now, Israel doesn't want to implement the resolutions that were adopted by Security Council and the General Assembly that deals with the occupation. There has been resolutions. They have defied those resolutions. And them going to this court, they were going to be compelled to implement these resolutions, much as countries that are signatories to this court can push Israel to comply. Israel has pointed out that they don't recognize the hearings and they won't comply. And they stayed away, or Israel took a decision to stay away because Israel wanted to defy whatever outcome. Clearly an indication that Israel is fully aware that what the outcome of this hearing will be is likely going to be a situation where Israel will be requested to do something about occupation and settlements in Palestine, in West Bank, including East Jerusalem.
Sophie Mokoena, thank you for your deep and insightful analysis, always, particularly on this matter. Sophie Mokoena is the SABC News International editor, and she's been giving us a blow-by-blow account of what's been happening at the International Court of Justice. Thank you so much, Sophie.